Good evening. I'm Patricia Vallone with a CTV News update. Well, over the past several days, police have been busy investigating what appears to be a deadly trend of late. Since last week, there have been 4 cases of pedestrians being killed by a motor vehicle. Byron Scott has our story.
The most recent incident occurred at this very busy and wide intersection. I'm going to hop out of the way here. This is the intersection of Martin Luther King Jr. Highway and Ardwick-Ardmore Road. Now, according to police, the accident happened at around 12:10 this morning. A man was crossing this busy road when he was struck by a vehicle, and according to police, that vehicle did not stay on the scene. The man was pronounced dead at the location, and the investigation continues. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Solvers at 1-866-411-TIPS. This is the 7100 block of Martin Luther King Jr. Highway. This is where 47-year-old Gerber Mejia Reyes of Hyattsville was struck and killed. It happened October 22nd, just after 8 o'clock. Police say he was attempting to cross the street when he was hit. The driver, they say, did remain on the scene. October 20th, last Thursday, this is where a road worker was struck and killed while at a work site. Police identify him as 52-year-old Christopher Carter of Fort Washington. It happened on New Hampshire Avenue near Metzerott Road just after 10 o'clock in the morning. Police say the driver, who remained at the scene, was also injured. And this is the area of Greenbelt Road and Kenilworth Avenue, the scene of a hit and run on October 19th. It happened at around 2 o'clock in the morning. Arriving officers found a man in the road and he was pronounced dead. The driver, they say, fled the scene. Anyone who may have information on any of these cases is asked to contact police. Byron Scott, CTV News.
Laurel City leaders held a community meeting last night on skyrocketing rental rates. It was a packed room filled with tenants and lawmakers speaking in favor of legislation to control rent hikes.
I am here tonight actually to encourage you all to say that the city can be a leader on rent affordability. You have the ability under state law to enact a citywide rent stabilization law, and it's a good one. It really is. This bill by Councilman Mitchell and DeWalt is balanced. It limits increases to no more than 3% of the current rent, but it creates a process for landlords to request an exception based on planned capital improvements, changes in property taxes, and other factors that affect their ability to earn what's called a fair return on their investment. The bill has other important provisions like a rental registry, but I strongly believe the most important provision is the 3% limit on rent increases.
And the City Council will hold a work session on rent stabilization issues. That'll be on November 4th. Lawmakers hope to vote on the matter by late November or early December. Delegate Al Carr of Montgomery County files a complaint against Pepco with the Maryland Public Service Commission. Carr accuses the utility of inadequate maintenance of its streetlights. The complaint, which was filed in his personal capacity, says Pepco has failed to address issues for more than a year. He's calling for at least $3 million in civil penalties against the company.
When a streetlight burns out and they have to replace the bulb, Pepco takes weeks sometimes to make that repair. That should happen in days. Or they say, when you see something, say something. You should report when there's an outage. But Pepco's system, where you go on their website and you report an outage, doesn't work very well. A lot of times it has missing lights or wrong addresses in there, so it makes it very difficult for members of the public to report those outages.
And Carr says other problems include counties and municipalities having problems with their invoices or bills, as well as services promised that were never delivered. A controversial bill that would have revised review procedures for zoning applications is abruptly pulled by one of its sponsors this morning. CB 92 was on its final reading and was scheduled for a public hearing when Councilmember Mel Franklin said the measure would be held indefinitely. Despite tabling the measure, members of the public were still able to weigh in during the hearing.
By keeping simple majority for all zoning-related variances, this bill should not only been tabled, it should have been completely withdrawn and taken away.
It's so disappointing to see the at-large council members so brazenly turn their backs on their constituents in favor of developers and their money. I have my ballot. And I will certainly be writing in names for the at-large positions as my trust in them is broken beyond repair.
A new council will be sworn in early December. Meantime, the council votes to appoint one of its own to serve as the new director for the Prince George's Office of Ethics and Accountability. Former council member Todd Turner was confirmed after County Executive Angela Alsobrooks appointed him recently. The confirmation came despite some controversy from residents and Progressive Maryland who say that Turner voted for an unpopular and now defunct redistricting plan. Turner resigned his council post after being nominated for the position. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. Coming up, Education Secretary Miguel Cardona visits Fort Foote Elementary. Stay with us.
Know what it's like to go to war, to bravely step forward and sacrifice for what you believe is right. We see those who are redefining what it means to serve, to be a patriot, a hero, and to save lives. From our nation's injured veterans to the faces of courage across America today, we see you, we support you, we salute you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Welcome back. Well, here are the latest from Maryland's COVID-19 dashboard. 625 new COVID cases have been reported. The testing positivity rates stand at 6.73%. 17 deaths have occurred over the last 24 hours, and 459 people are currently hospitalized with the virus. Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona made a special stop at Fort Foote Elementary School in Fort Washington on Monday. He came to speak with parents and educators about closing educational gaps created in part by the pandemic.
So my message to parents here today is this: your voice matters, your advocacy matters, your partnership with us matters even more than ever. We need you at the table, and we need you to hold us accountable.
And Cardona is visiting schools across the country to talk with parents following the release of a new national report card. The report showed a significant decline in math and reading scores nationwide. The University of Maryland expands tuition aid for low-income families. The new financial aid is an effort to boost access and enrollment of low-income students in the state. The $20 million annual program will be known as Terrapin Commitment when it starts in January. Maryland residents who receive federal Pell Grants will be eligible for the financial aid to help ensure tuition and fees are covered. The Terrapin Commitment would fill in the unmet gaps after scholarships, grants, and family contributions. Police released the name of the driver who was killed in a single-car crash in Fort Washington last night. She's been identified as 25-year-old Ashley Henson of Temple Hills. The collision reconstruction team determined that just after 10, Henson lost control while driving westbound along Tucker Road and overturned her vehicle. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators are asking anyone who may have witnessed the accident to call police. And still ahead here on CTV News, your Tuesday Sports Report. Stay with us.
This is my house. My parents helped build it. Now we don't get wet when it rains. I don't get too hot or too cold inside. I can play with my sister. I can play with my brother. I can play with my mother, my father, my family. This is my house.
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 Visit Habitat.org to find out how you can help more families like mine.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, a Fort Washington man has been arrested on child pornography charges following an investigation that began in July. State police say they arrested 19-year-old Paul David at his home recently. David faces 5 counts of possession of child pornography. And police are looking for 2 suspects wanted for a shooting in downtown Silver Spring. It happened about 10:30 yesterday morning near Fenton Street and Ellsworth Drive. Montgomery police released this surveillance video. They say the suspects were shooting at each other. No injuries were reported, but a car traveling on Fenton was struck. A commercial business was hit by gunfire as well. Anyone with information on the incident is asked to contact authorities. Well, the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg will soon be immortalized on a forever stamp. The U.S. Postal Service is honoring the late Supreme Court Justice as an icon of American culture in the new year, although no specific date has been mentioned yet. The design was unveiled Monday, a painted portrait based on Ginsburg in a black robe with an intricate white collar, a symbol which became her trademark. Ginsburg died in 2020 at the age of 87.
Hey there, sports fans. Happy Tuesday. Now, things are looking up for the Commanders because last season's Defensive Rookie of the Year, Chase Young, is coming closer to making his season debut. The top 5 pick suffered a torn ACL in Week 10 of last season and has been sidelined ever since. But this week, head coach Ron Rivera said Young is progressing very well.
He had a very good doctor's visit. He got one more to do, one final. They were very optimistic on Sunday. He had a really good workout. They were really pleased with it. And then for us, it will be now football conditioning. We'll start on Wednesday. More than likely, the clock starts Wednesday morning.
Now moving on to some very sad news. Today, 1 week removed from her birthday, WNBA star Brittany Griner's appeal in Russian court was denied. The court decides to uphold her more than 8-year prison sentence. The 8-time All-Star was convicted on August 4th for less than a gram of cannabis oil found in her luggage. Today, Griner did not physically appear in court but was seen by video call. Outside of the courthouse, U.S. diplomat Elizabeth Rood and Brittany Griner's lawyers called the decision an extreme injustice.
It is honestly tragic that Ms. Griner had to spend her birthday last week in a Russian prison rather than at home with her family and on the basketball court with her teammates. Nothing in the previous sentence, nothing in the result of today's appeal changes the fact that the United States government considers Ms. Griner to be wrongfully detained. The United States Embassy in Moscow has no higher priority than the welfare of all U.S. citizens detained in Russia, whether wrongfully detained or not.
She is the one who is the most disappointed because she had some hopes and these hopes vanished today. So I think that's why she is doomed. The cassation, the second appeal, yes, that's the possible legal option. It is her decision to make. We think we should use all the available legal tools, but she will be the one who will take the decision.
Griner is currently being held in a Russian penal colony outside of the capital, and she's been detained in Russia for more than 250 days.
That's very sad. Yeah, and I understand it's tough for her to even play basketball these days.
Definitely.
All right, thanks, Laurencia. Well, turning now to your weather forecast tonight, mostly cloudy, lows around 56. Wednesday, possible showers, highs near 71. Thursday, sunny skies, highs in the upper 60s, and Friday, partly sunny with highs near 64. That is your CTV News update. I'm Patricia Vallone, and for Laurencia, have a great night.
My baby's back from the West Coast.
Here are those pictures that you asked for your school project? First day of school, cute as a button.
So long ago.
Oh, here's Grandma Florence after that flood wiped out the whole neighborhood.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe. And it's the best way to protect that legacy.
Ah, those beans smell heavenly.
Give Mom a little credit.
You know what? We should make an emergency communication plan. That way we're ready this year.
Oh, great idea.
At my dorm, we have emergency kits for earthquakes and wildfires, but I'm sure there's something more local I can send you with the link.
Okay.
Smart.